How's it going, guys? Today we're going to talk about one of the suction units that we carry here at Great North Hardscape, available through our dealer network across Canada. This particular unit is an Optimas unit. Really great little suction package if you're looking for something that'll do most things out there. As you can see, it's got double handles on it, so two guys can lift this. It has a machine hook on it, which we'll talk about in a second. This here is a brake on it. It looks like a brake on a bike, but that's actually to release the stone. And then what we have on it right now is a 12 by 16 inch pad, lift 210 pounds. So most stone, natural stone, wetcast, no problem, and most dry cast product as well out there. As I mentioned, it has a machine hook on it. So there are two other pads that you can add down here. There's just 4 little screws on the bottom, so very easy to switch out. But you can get a 330 pound pad and a 440 pound pad. So those would typically be, if you're lifting something with a machine, a little bit heavier stone. And when you're doing that, you can put the handles all the way up and just put a 360 degree. We got red hooks that'll turn. Very slick little package. Again, 2 people and a machine package, nice. It runs, it's electric, so it plugs into the wall and you're ready to rock and roll. So there's a couple of things though that I just want to point out just for suction in general, no matter what you're looking at. You want to make sure that it'll seal. So you're often looking at the product itself, the stone itself, what's the surface texture like. All pads have like a squishy pad on the bottom of them, and typically when the suction goes onto it, it's going to squish around the crevices and fill in the gaps of that stone so that it'll seal properly and pick it up. But the real key thing that everyone's got to be aware of is porosity of stone. If you're not really familiar what porosity is, it's essentially the gaps, the voids that are in a stone. And that's usually from a manufactured product, like a dry cast product. So even though it looks smooth and slick on the surface, inside of it there could be little bubbles in there. And if this suction unit is just sucking air through it, it might not lift it. So there are oddball stones out there. We've especially noticed over the last couple of years where a lot of stone manufacturers are quickly trying to get stone out the door for you guys. There may have been a change in some of the process. Those are things that you just got to be aware of. So maybe try the unit with the stone, something that you typically lift. When you pick it up, just try it, at the location, your dealer's location, and just make sure that it's picking it up okay. The other thing that I want to talk about is general maintenance. So even though you have this machine, you don't want to run it to the ground. You want to make sure that you're protecting it. And there's some real basic, simple things that you should keep in mind for yourself and for your crew. Number one, there's venting systems along the side here. You want to make sure that it's not gunked up. There's not like dirt or debris inside of that. Anything that makes this motor run hotter is going to have a less of a lifespan on this. So make sure that that's all cleaned out. On the bottom of these units, see if we can get this up here. You can see there's a hole and there's like a grill on the inside of that. Same thing applies to that. Make sure that this is always cleaned out as best you can. Maybe once in a while bring it into the shop and just vacuum it out. Again, if that thing is running hot, it's just that motor's gonna, over time, is gonna wear out. And the other thing about it is it's electric, right? So you plug this in, don't leave it running the whole time, especially if it's sitting on a stone and sucking down the whole time. Use it as you're laying the stone, turn it off, let it cool down, turn it back on, keep going with it. So throughout the day, as often as you can, just make sure that it's allowed to cool down. Key things to keep in mind. And then the final thing with this particular unit is, like I told you, this little brake line here, the release for this, it's just like a bicycle cable. So 2 things. You want to make sure that that's got tension on it, so when you're grabbing that brake, it's actually releasing it. And that's something else that when you're adjusting this up and down, you want to make sure this thing doesn't get caught under there and sort of break the wire. So a couple of really basic things as far as maintenance and service goes. Everyone's got to do it, doesn't matter what your tools are. Look after your stuff and it'll last a long time. So if you're interested, this is called the Optimas HF200E, available through our dealer network. Contact me or check it out at greatnorthhardscape.com.